This is one of those games where it's like, well, what more can you really say? The Bulls got beat by a better team, albeit a shorthanded team, but still the best team in the league, and a team that has only lost 14 games all season, even when they've had injuries. I mean, this is kind of like the loss against the Clippers the other week, where the Bulls played pretty well, they played hard, they stayed connected with them, but just didn't have enough juice against a much better team. But I guess in a way that's kind of the main issue here, because a loss like this, while expected, is a microcosm of what this team is and what their ceiling is. There are a lot of teams better than them, and even when they are playing well, they're still not able to compete with the best. Now, I'm sure some will say, well, the Bulls should have taken advantage with Jaylen Brown and Porzingis being out of the lineup. The Celtics are a ridiculously deep team. Even when those guys are out, they're still a lethal team from behind the arc. They still have their superstar in Jason Tatum. This wasn't a gimme game or one the Bulls should have won just because Brown and Porzingis are out of the lineup. And let's also not underscore the fact that the Bulls have been shorthanded as well and have been down players for a good portion of the season. It's weird to say because even though there were a lot of frustrating aspects about this game, which I'll get to, I actually thought the Bulls on the whole played decently well, with the exception of the final stretch anyway when the Celtics put them away. The Bulls were efficient on offense. They shot 57% in this game from the floor. They were attacking the paint and finishing well, with the Celtics being void of rim protection with no Porzingis. They moved the ball well. They had 36 assists as a team tonight. They outscored the Celtics 54-38 in points in the paint, 17-8 on fast break points. They only turned the ball over 7 times against one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. I mean, they played hard in this one with effort and hustle. The biggest difference in this game that absolutely killed the Bulls was second chance points, allowing way too many offensive rebounds, and of course, Boston just murdering the Bulls from deep. 21 threes to the Bulls 9. The Celtics shot 43% from 3. I don't know why, but the Bulls allowed way too many open looks from deep for the Celtics against one of the best three-point shooting teams in the NBA that has so many sharpshooters. Bulls defense was incredibly slow to get out on the perimeter, missing closeouts, missing assignments on switches. How do you allow a team like the Celtics as many open threes as they did is beyond me. And some poor coaching when you didn't see any of that change throughout the game. It just continued throughout the whole thing. Going back to the rebounds for a minute though, more specifically the offensive rebounds, the Bulls allowed 12 offensive boards while the Bulls only had 3 offensive rebounds in total as a team. The Bulls got outworked on the glass in general, 41 rebounds to 29, and somehow they allowed freaking Luke Kornet, guy who couldn't play to save his life when he was in a Bulls uniform, they allowed him to grab a career high in rebounds at 13, while Nikola Vucevic, one of the top rebounders in the league, had 2 rebounds for Vucevic. Coby White, Alex Caruso, DeMar DeRozan all had more rebounds than he did in this game among starters. Very uncharacteristic of Vucevic, and especially concerning when he's going up against Luke Kornet as their default starter with Porzingis out. Also, how do you let Al Horford hit 5 threes against you? Just mind-boggling. Anyway, Vucevic actually hit all of his shots inside tonight, which is rare to see. All of his misses, of course, came at the three-point line where he was 0 for 3. Coby White, still not quite right, although his minutes restrictions have been lifted, but just doesn't have the same step or bounce like we were seeing before he had his hip injury. Shot 3 for 11 in this one, 11 points. He was contributing in other ways though, by moving the flow of offense, keeping the ball movement going, and getting good looks for others. He ended up finishing the game with 10 assists and 5 rebounds. Caruso, I think he gave us all a scare when he rolled his ankle and had to go back to the locker room in the second quarter, especially with how hot he started out the game from 3. Ended up returning in the second half and played well overall. 14 points on 5 for 8 shooting, 4 for 6 from 3. Ayo had a decent game as well, although his 20-plus point streak ended as his shot was a bit cold tonight. Still doing his thing as far as getting downhill and finishing transition. 14 points tonight, 4 assists and 2 steals, but did not hit a single three-pointer. And then, of course, DeMar doing everything he could to try and get this team to win, but it just wasn't enough. Boston has too much firepower. Very efficient night for DeMar, putting up 28 points on 12 for 19 from the floor, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, 42 minutes. Still incredible to me the amount of minutes the Bulls have him putting in at his age, but with how shorthanded they are, that's just what they have to do at this point, and it's not going to change. I will say, big minutes from both Torrey Craig and Dalen Terry off the bench. Craig was 4 for 4 in this one, perfect from 3 at 3 for 3. Good effort on defense, great job generating offense by tallying 3 assists in 19 minutes. And then Dalen Terry, been looking more and more confident out there. Still a bit chaotic at times, but he knows how to bring energy to the floor, which is what the Bulls really need right now. Had some nice throwdown dunks, one of which got a technical for hanging on the rim, which was just a horrendous call when he barely hung onto the rim. We've seen guys hang on the rim for much longer and not get called for it. Ended up not really mattering because the Celtics missed that free throw, but still a garbage call. But Terry Wood finished the game with 12 points on 5 for 8 from the floor, but for me, it was more about the hustle and energy that he brought when he was out there. So anyway, Bulls fall back 3 games below 500 again. I like to think there is a world where they could get to 500 with their next 3 games being against the Wizards, the Pacers, and the Nets, but I can't really trust this team for anything at this point. As I've said before, does it really matter? The Bulls aren't going to finish better than the 9th seed. This is the team's ceiling. Sad to say, but it's where we are right now in this era of Bulls basketball. Hate to end the video on a Debbie Downer comment like that, but like I said, at the top of the video, what else is there to really say about this team at this point? Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.